welcome. If you are watching and listening now, it means you have chosen to give yourself a pause, a moment entirely your own, away from the noise of the day. This is Opulent Dreams, a place where time slows down, where stories flow gently, and where sleep arrives without being called. Tonight, I have the privilege of guiding you slowly towards rest. There is nothing you need to do. Simply listen and let go. If you wish, you can support this journey with a small gesture by following the channel, liking this video, and leaving a comment telling us where you are watching from tonight. A quiet way of being present together, even from afar. For now, though, this time is yours. Lower the lights. Settle into a comfortable position. Allow your body to find its own balance. Soften your breathing. There is no need to control it. Just allow it to slow down. The world can wait. Your worries can remain outside this night. I wish you a deep, elegant, natural rest. Let yourself be gently carried. And when you are ready, let the dream begin. The terminal of the London airport was wrapped in an almost surreal calm. The soft glow of the interior lights cast gentle reflections on the polished marble floor, while a handful of passengers, discreet and carefully selected, moved between private lounges and security checkpoints. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the scent of neatly folded newspapers. Every detail seemed designed to reassure, to pamper those who had chosen to entrust themselves to a private flight. No rush, no crowds, only the slow rhythm of those indulging in a rare privilege. The two men walked forward with measured steps, both tall, athletic in build, sculpted silhouettes, and graceful movements. One of them wore a dark, tailored suit, the jacket slightly open, and a midnight blue silk tie standing out against an immaculate shirt. The other had chosen lighter tones, pearl grey trousers, a pale blue shirt, and a modern-cut ultramarine blazer. Their watches, discreet yet precious, reflected the lounge lighting without appearing ostentatious. Every detail of their attire was carefully considered to harmonize with the surrounding luxury without drawing unnecessary attention. As they crossed the private jet bridge, their gaze settled on the aircraft. A state-of-the-art Gulf Stream, its surfaces sleek and glossy, with a metallic sheen reminiscent of an elegant blade. The wings were still, yet they radiated a promise of controlled, graceful motion. The cabin interior was visible through the windows, already illuminated by warm, adjustable lights, ready to welcome those seeking not just a destination, but a complete experience of comfort and sensory pleasure. Once on board, they were enveloped by an atmosphere that blended modernity with human warmth. The seats, upholstered in cream-colored leather, were spacious and equipped with electric adjustments for the backrest, footrest, and lumbar support. Every stitch was flawless, every detail chosen to follow the body without resistance. Integrated LED lights along the side panels created a soft illumination, sufficient for reading or admiring the outside view without disturbing night vision. Welcomed by the onboard staff, they were escorted to their seats. The first seat offered a panoramic view of the night sky. The large window revealed the runway, the reflections of airport lights, and beyond, the endless darkness of the English sky. The second seat, mirroring the first, allowed for constant visual exchange between the two men, without raising their voices, without interruptions. Every movement was fluid, designed not to disturb the other, in a silent choreography of elegant gestures. As the aircraft began to move slowly toward the runway, the two men adjusted small details. They placed crystal glasses on the fold-out table, poured golden sparkling wine, letting the bubbles rise gently to the rim of the glass, reflecting the cabin lights like tiny liquid stars. The gesture was slow, contemplative, a ritual that prepared the spirit for a long night suspended between earth and sky. Takeoff unfolded with the calm of those who have no need to hurry. The sound of the engines was present, yet softened by soundproofed walls and the plush materials of the seats. The sensation was one of being cradled, accompanied by a steady, regular breath. Through the window, the city of London drifted away slowly, yellow and white lights aligning with rivers and bridges, creating secret geometries, invisible by day. Night transformed everything into an elegant design, barely perceptible, inviting the gaze to linger without haste. Once cruising altitude was reached, the sky opened into a canopy of stars. The moon illuminated the surface of the clouds like silvered silk. The two figures, seated in comfort, could observe the world from above, suspended between the earth slowly fading beneath them and the immensity of the sky. Silence was broken only by the faint crackle of the climate control system and the whisper of the engines, a sound so regular it became a musical accompaniment to their thoughts. The cabin was now a microcosm detached from external time. Every element contributed to creating an environment of relaxation. The central table was ready for dinner. The champagne flutes reflected warm light. The seats adjusted to maximum comfort. Luxury was not ostentation, but harmony. Every object, every material, every detail served to pamper body and mind. The two men allowed themselves a long moment of observation. They did not speak aloud. They shared silent gestures, a barely hinted smile, a glance toward the window, a nod toward the bottle of sparkling wine. Interior shadows blended with exterior lights, creating a play of reflections and transparencies that accompanied their thoughts. Takeoff and ascent were slow, meditative. The clouds beneath them flowed like waves of silk. The night sky stretched into infinity. Once cruising altitude was reached, the Gulfstream's cabin transformed into an exclusive refuge. Soft, muted lights barely outlined the contours of the two seats, allowing the reflections of the stars outside to blend with the warm tones of the interior. The central table, wide and impeccably set, awaited dinner, ready to become a ritual of discreet pleasure. Every detail was designed to surprise without excess. Fine porcelain plates, polished cutlery, crystal glasses, capturing the light like small liquid gems. The first course was served slowly, with measured gestures, without haste. The delicate scent of aromatic herbs spread through the air, mingling with the subtle notes of wood and leather inside the aircraft. The man in the dark suit observed every detail attentively, feeling the softness of the fabric of his jacket as he moved. The other, wearing the ultramarine blue jacket, rested his elbows gently on the armrest, savoring each bite with calm attention. Dinner was a sensory experience. Balanced flavors, textures soft or perfectly crisp, aromas that did not intrude but accompanied the silence and contemplation. The sparkling wine, golden and effervescent, accompanied each taste. The bubbles rose slowly to the rim of the glass, creating a subtle, almost musical sound that blended with the steady rhythm of the engines. Each sip was a small ritual, a meditative pause between one bite and the next, a way to savor not only the food, but the entire moment suspended in time and space. Seated side by side, the two men observed the sky through the large windows. The night was clear, and the stars shone with varying intensity, some so close they seemed to fall among the light clouds. The English Channel, darker than by day, moved slowly beneath them. The lights of distant ports flickered intermittently, small golden sparks suspended between sky and water. Every detail was an invitation to slow down, to perceive the depth of each moment. The conversation was silent, made of gestures and glances. No words were necessary, only the shared presence of one another and the beauty surrounding them. For the aircraft swayed gently, so lightly it felt like part of a breath, a regular rocking that guided thoughts toward a state of calm. The service continued with the second course, equally refined, a balance of flavors and textures that invited closed eyes to fully savor them. The fragrance of delicate spices spread between the seats, blending with the aroma of fabrics and the comforting warmth of the interior lighting. The seat, wide and adjustable, embraced the body, allowing effortless relaxation. The dark jacket and the pale blue shirt, perfectly pressed, followed the movements of the two men like a second skin, elegant and discreet. After dinner, the table was folded away gently, and the cabin returned to a state of complete tranquillity. The two men shifted slightly, resting into the reclined seats, their legs extended on the adjustable footrests. The eye masks, soft and light, were put on slowly, blocking all interior light and allowing only the depth of the outer sky to be perceived. AirPods in their ears released relaxing music, slow melodies, light instruments, and ambient sounds that echoed the sea and the wind. The movement of the aircraft, steady and smooth, became a natural cradle. Each oscillation was perfectly calibrated, as if the sky itself had chosen to accompany the two men into a slow, deep sleep. The external reflections of the night sea and distant lights blended with the interior shadows, creating an atmosphere suspended between dream and wakefulness. The first of the two men shifted slightly, allowing his body to adapt perfectly to the seat. His neck was supported by a soft cushion, his hands resting naturally on his legs. The other leaned back a little more, perceiving the gentle warmth of the adjusted seat and the comfort of the supple leather. The pale blue shirt followed the movement of his chest, breathing with each inhalation and making the experience of relaxation complete and total. Through the large windows, the sky changed slowly. Wispy clouds drifted beneath them, illuminated by the moon. The stars appeared like distant gems, sparkling and perfect. Every detail of the nocturnal landscape was perceived without haste. The movement of the water, the reflection of the moon on the sea, the gradual appearance of the first lights of the European continent as the flight approached the coasts of Dubai. The sensation was one of being suspended between two worlds, the physicality of the relaxed body and the constant motion of the aircraft, the perception of luxury and the stillness of silence. The two men surrendered to this meditative state, allowing the mind to empty of all extraneous thoughts. Each breath became a wave, a rhythm synchronized with the movement of the aircraft and the silent flow of time. After hours of suspended silence, the Gulf Stream glided gracefully toward the southeast. The night currents were light, almost imperceptible, and the engine produced a steady hum, a sonic cradle accompanying every thought and every breath of the two men. Their seats, wide and fully adjustable, embraced the body without resistance, as if every fibre of leather and fabric had been designed to create a complete experience of comfort. Soft-toned shirts and elegant trousers allowed the warmth of fine materials to be felt, wrapping the body in an invisible embrace. The sky above them was remarkably clear. The stars reflected on the polished metal of the fuselage, creating subtle plays of light, as if the aircraft itself were part of the firmament. The night sea, far below their route, flowed dark, deep, almost velvety, interrupted only by the glow of distant illuminated coastlines. The lights of European ports and cities, now far behind, were small golden sparks in a sea of black, and each reflection seemed to tell stories of distant lands and lives. The cabin was immersed in perfect silence. The two men, though impeccably dressed, relaxed the muscles of their necks and shoulders, allowing the luxury of the intimate space to envelop them. Leather headrests and adjustable lumbar support ensured perfect spinal alignment, while their feet rested comfortably on footrests upholstered in soft leather. Their hands, resting on the armrests, moved slowly, accompanying a calm, steady breath. When the aircraft began its descent toward Dubai, the view changed gradually. The first lights of the city appeared like an interweaving of golden and silver threads, a network of energy spreading across the dark sand. The desert, so close yet so silent, faintly reflected the moonlight, while the dunes resembled frozen waves, suspended in time. The metropolis unfolded beneath them, a mosaic of shimmering skyscrapers, illuminated boulevards, and buildings rising like small mountains of glass and steel. Every detail was perceived through the panoramic windows. The tallest towers brushed the sky, their glass reflecting blue and white lights. Rooftop pools appeared like liquid mirrors suspended in the air. Dancing fountains sparkled like gemstones, and illuminated highways wound like rivers of light between desert and city. The two men observed everything without haste, in a shared silence, allowing visual wonder to become part of their relaxation. The onboard service continued discreetly. An attendant moved silently with crystal flutes of sparkling wine and delicate small bites, smoked fish canapes, carefully cut exotic fruits, each element arranged with precision. The aromas were subtle and never intrusive, accompanying the nocturnal vision of the city and the slow relaxation of the two men. The glass of the flute captured every external light, creating a play of reflections that blended with the starry sky. After the light meal, the two men settled in completely. The eye masks were adjusted, blocking any remaining interior light. AirPods released soft melodies, delicate instruments, and ambient sounds that echoed the breath of the sea and the whisper of wind among desert dunes. Each note was slow, precise, an auditory caress guiding the body toward rest. The Gulf Stream continued its steady descent, barely swaying. Every micro movement was a perfect cradle, as if gravity itself had been custom calibrated. The headrests supported the neck perfectly. The side cushions embraced the shoulders. The skin sensed the softness of the fabrics and the ideal temperature of the cabin. Music and external silence became a single sensory experience, a balance of sound, motion, and physical comfort. The landscape below came alive gradually. The lights of Dubai multiplied, outlining artificial islands, iconic skyscrapers, and illuminated beaches. The Burj Khalifa rose majestically, a luminous spire touching the night sky, while the surrounding fountains moved water in perfect geometries, creating reflections that seemed to dance along the wings of the aircraft. The two men surrendered to complete silence, perceiving every detail: the steady breath of the aircraft, the gentle roll, the music fading into the lungs like a slow wave. Every external thought was replaced by contemplation of the journey, the sky, and the city below. Luxury was no longer an object, it was a state of mind. At last the two friends closed their eyes, allowing the body to fully adapt to the reclined seats. Their hands rested effortlessly on the footrests. Their necks were supported by the cushions. The eye masks blocked all remaining light. Each breath synchronized with the roll of the aircraft, with the soft whisper of the engines, with the vast silence of the night sky. The Gulf Stream carried them gently toward the runway of Dubai, as sleep enveloped them. Every fiber of their bodies relaxed, every muscle released its tension. The shimmering city beneath them became an indistinct mosaic, a delicate reflection accompanying their dreams. The outer world faded away, making room for deep rest, calm and prolonged, suspended between the stars and the lights of the metropolis. The descent toward Dubai was slow and perfectly calibrated. The Gulf Stream, silent and steady, caressed the rising air currents, gliding through thin clouds. The two men, still wrapped in their elegant attire, perceived every detail: the softness of the leather seats, the subtle warmth of the fabrics, and the gentle caress of the conditioned air. From above, the city lights became more defined. The main roads shimmered like rivers of liquid light, and the tallest towers reflected the streetlights and beams of the surrounding skyscrapers. Dubai's famous marina, with its perfectly aligned boats and artificial islands with harmonious outlines, glowed like a golden mosaic suspended over dark water. The sound of the engines, almost imperceptible, merged with the breathing of the two men, now synchronized with the slow roll of the aircraft. The cabin remained wrapped in a relaxing half-light, with LED lamps strategically placed to illuminate only what was necessary, creating an intimate and welcoming atmosphere. Every detail, from the adjustable footrests to the folding tables and wide armrests, had been designed to ensure total comfort, without distracting from the nocturnal spectacle unfolding beyond the windows. The two friends slowly sipped the final glass of sparkling wine, letting the bubbles dissolve lightly on the tongue, their gaze following the pattern of lights and artificial canals below. No words were needed. The contemplation of the night landscape was enough. The city beneath them pulsed with life, yet inside the cabin everything was absolute calm, suspended in an almost unreal time. The two men lay back as if the body were a malleable object. The head rested on the softness of the headrest, the neck fully supported by the crescent-shaped pillow, the shoulders relaxed. Their hands rested on the chest or on the armrests. Their breathing became deep and regular, in perfect harmony with the imperceptible roll of the aircraft. Every muscle, every fiber, let go, as if luxury itself held the power to dissolve any remaining tension. The night images of Dubai drifted by, barely perceived, through the eye mask that softened the light. The Burj Khalifa, the dancing fountains, the illuminated streets, everything became an indistinct mosaic, a canvas of light and shadow accompanying sleep. Every detail was so subtle that the two men sensed its essence without needing to name it. And the city, the desert, the sea, the starry sky were part of a single breath. The Gulf Stream continued to vibrate lightly, swaying gently. Each breath of the two men was in sync with the roll. Each heartbeat became an echo of the engine. Every thought slowly dissolved, replaced by the pure sensation of total relaxation. Luxury was no longer an external quality. It had become a bodily experience, a perception of self and of the world, a perfect suspension between wakefulness and sleep. As the minutes passed, muscles fully relaxed, breathing steady and slow, the two men fell into a deep sleep. The ambient music faded gently, replaced by the perfect silence of the cabin, broken only by the soft hiss of the air conditioning and the distant sound of the engines on standby. Sleep enveloped them completely, every external sensation transformed into a calm wave, brushing thoughts and body, guiding them into an inner journey where time no longer existed. The glittering city, the starry sky, the distant sea, all merged into a single flow of light and shadow, of breath and perception, of luxury and absolute relaxation. The Gulf Stream, silent and faithful, continued to guard their rest. No urgency, no distraction, only the slow drifting of the body toward the deepest rest. Every detail of the cabin, from the softness of the seats to the warmth of the fabrics, the position of the pillows, and the delicate music, contributed to creating a unique, perfect experience with no boundary between reality and dream. Thus, suspended between the stars and the lights of Dubai, the two men surrendered completely to sleep, in a perfect balance of movement, sound, light, and luxury until they awoke naturally, refreshed, rested, and completely restored. The captain gently announced the beginning of the landing procedure. The Gulf Stream slightly reduced its speed, and every movement was so smooth that the two men felt more a gentle sway than any real change. The runway lights appeared on the horizon, warm and reassuring, accompanied by the reflection of the moon on the aircraft's polished surfaces. When the wheels touched the asphalt, it felt as if the outside world had simply drawn closer, without interrupting the sensation of suspension. The aircraft slowed, following the runway in a fluid, controlled motion, and the hum of the engines became even softer, almost transforming into a whisper. The two men remained seated, hands resting on the armrests, shoulders relaxed, allowing every micro vibration to be perceived as a caress. Once stationary, the cabin crew attended to every small detail. Cashmere blankets folded with care, memory foam pillows placed perfectly, soft lighting to preserve the relaxing atmosphere. The two men settled once more into the reclined seats, putting on their eye masks, adjusting the neck support, and letting the ambient music in their AirPods envelop them completely. The outside world ceased to exist. The distant noise of aircraft, the engines of the terminal, and the voices of airport staff faded into a faraway echo. All that remained was the cabin, the silent luxury of the seats and fine materials, and the slow, progressive surrender to sleep. The first glow of the sun slowly filtered through the aircraft's light curtains. It was not yet full dawn, but a soft, golden brightness that caressed the cabin. The blackout eye masks had softened the passage of light, and yet, in that moment, even the faintest glow slipped through like a gentle invitation to rise from sleep. The two men stretched slowly, without haste. Every movement was measured, each gesture accompanied by a deep breath. They watched the golden reflections of the first towers emerge between desert and sea, and the marina shimmered, its illuminated piers like miniature rivers of light. They dressed once more in their elegant attire: light shirts, soft yet perfectly pressed, dark jackets resting on the seats, tailored trousers, polished shoes reflecting the subdued glow of the cabin. The precision of details was part of the ritual. Every button, every fold of the tie was considered, maintaining balance and harmony. On the folding table, the glasses had been repositioned, ready for breakfast. An elegant service, composed of white porcelain with fine gold rims, brushed steel spoons, and light linen napkins. The cabin crew served a discreet, refined breakfast: fresh fruit cut with precision, creamy yogurt, fragrant croissants, and freshly squeezed orange juice. The sparkling wine of the previous night had been replaced by lightly infused green tea and by coffee with a rich, enveloping aroma. From their privileged vantage point, Dubai's nocturnal panorama was slowly yielding to the morning light. The tallest skyscrapers, like the Burj Khalifa, caught the first light and reflected it across glass and steel facades. The desert behind the city took on a warm, golden hue, while the canals and artificial islands along the coast sparkled like liquid gems. The two men sipped their drink slowly, savoring every detail: the freshness of the juice, the warmth of the coffee, the softness of the croissants. This was not a simple breakfast. It was an extension of the cabin's luxury, a ritual designed to guide the awakening without abruptness. Each bite, each sip, was part of a sensory experience perfectly harmonized with the landscape outside. The cabin, silent and orderly, allowed focus on what truly mattered: the sense of space, the comfort of the seats, the faint scent of fabrics and fresh ingredients. Attention rested entirely on the present moment, on the breath, the details, the invisible luxury that envelops everything. The aircraft's wings vibrated almost imperceptibly, while the cabin maintained an ideal temperature, neither cool nor warm, but balanced, like a constant embrace. The two men exchanged a brief, knowing glance, without words. Everything was clear and shared: their friendship, their quiet complicity, the beauty of the journey, and the unique sensation of being suspended between sky and earth, between sleep and wakefulness, between work and pleasure. The aircraft drew ever closer to the runway at Dubai Airport. The lights of towers, roads, and buildings were now sharp and defined. The marina glittered like a river of diamonds, while taxiways and illuminated runways formed a precise lattice of light. Every detail, from the grandest to the smallest, seemed designed to be admired from above, without haste. When the wheels touched the asphalt, the contact was gentle and smooth, almost imperceptible. The aircraft slowed along the runway as the city lights reflected on the polished surfaces of the seats and the window glass. There was no rush. The landing itself was part of the experience, a moment to be savored. The two men, still wrapped in the cabin's luxury, remained seated, watching the landscape shift quickly: the runways, the hangars, the taxi lights and terminals, until the full view of the city opened before them like a carpet of light and order. Every movement, every detail was perfectly balanced. From the motion of the aircraft, to the arrangement of the seats, to the soft, diffused light within the cabin. With a quiet sigh of satisfaction, they settled once more, relaxed, aware that they had lived a truly unique experience. A night flight, suspended between stars and city lights, immersed in the most refined luxury, with no distractions, allowing every detail to guide them into a gentle wakefulness. perfectly synchronized with the world outside.